Hanni and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Obviously, they're home to the best wings in town. You know that. But did you know they've got some creative new menu items, including their cheesy pepperoni crunch rolls, all right? These are amazing. They're stuffed with pepperoni pizza flavor, fried perfectly crispy, and served with marinara. Out of this world. How about the new Buffalo Chicken Philly? It's a twist on your favorite Philly, served with chicken and drizzled with their special mild sauce and house-made ranch. They also now have chicken and waffles. So whether you want the classic wings with 21 different sauces or something new and creative, they got it for you at Jefferson's on Mass and Wakarusa. Jefferson's, presenting sponsor of Hanni and the Hawks. What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Hanni and the Hawks, recorded today from our Kansas Nation studios in downtown Lawrence and presented, as always, by Jefferson's. We're about to partake in some tasty Jefferson's wings here, talking to a guy who's one of the all-time great point guards in KU basketball history today, the guy that Bill Self has said on numerous occasions might just be the toughest player he ever coached. Thrilled to bring you All-American Tyshawn Taylor. Tyshawn, great to see you, bud.
Thanks for having me, Brian. I appreciate it.
Great to have you here. You're very familiar with these studios because you have your own show.
Feels like second home here.
No doubt, although you've never sat in the guest chair before. How's that
it's
suiting
the first time. It's comfortable over here.
It's like you're on a TV talk show or something.
Good
you got
couch.
your own couch. Tell me about Tyshawn's podcast here, Time Out with Tyshawn Taylor.
Well, something that we started a couple years ago, me and my friend Chris. I met him through basketball training. I trained his son. Me and him, we just became pretty cool friends. We got a lot of things in common: basketball, gambling, sports betting, stuff like that. So we sat down, and he had a guy who wanted to do some producer stuff.
Sure.
And threw out the idea. And you obviously know I could talk ball all day.
Absolutely.
So I was like, if all I got to do is show up and talk basketball, I could do that. And so we did it, did some YouTube stuff, and we ended up getting some like good episodes. I had, I went and got Marcus for an episode. Sharon was on an episode, Mario Little, Mario Chalmers. So we ended up having some good episodes. Got a few views on YouTube, so it was good. And then my co-host guy, he'll drag me along every now and then. I think we're on season 3 now. So probably got 10 or 12 really, really good episodes just talking basketball, giving some KU stories from my time with some of my teammates, reminiscing on things. Just kicking it.
And now fans can find that very show on this same platform, kansasnation.com. So make sure you check out those episodes, Time Out with Tyshawn Taylor. That, though, is just kind of a passion project.
Yeah,
Your main career right now is paying it forward to the next generation of hoopers. I love this.
Yeah.
The individual training work you do with 3rd through 7th graders, the coaching you're doing at Bishop Seabury Academy where your son's one of the star players. Walk us through your day-to-day now as a basketball teacher.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, just through all of my experience of basketball, all the coaches that I've had, it just feels like the thing to do. It feels like the right thing to do. I feel at home on the court even when I'm not playing. So for one, to have my son be involved in it and into it is kind of the thing that got me into the training and stuff. He's taking it serious. He's pretty good. It's grown. It has its times where it goes up and down a lot, but for the most part, I've trained pretty much every kid in the community that's probably 8th grade and under since I've been here for 4 years. So that's good. I've seen a bunch of kids and a bunch of families that I know from when I was in college and stuff. People who taught me at KU, now I'm training their kids.
Wow.
Or people that I went to college with, they'll send their kids to me. So it's been great. I'll do the individual and group session stuff during the summertime. I sometimes have teams. I'll do my Tailor-Made Hoops team stuff, so 3rd grade, 4th grade, all the way to 8th grade. And it's good. It just keeps me around the game. It allows me to give back all the experience and knowledge that I gained from Coach Self, Coach Hurley, all of the NBA coaches that I've had that are Hall of Famers and legends. I've been fortunate to be around the game at a high level. And so to be able to just kind of give that back makes me feel good.
That's exactly where I was going with the next question. From Bob Hurley at St. Anthony High School, where you went 32-0 as a senior, USA Today's mythical national championship, to Bill Self here at Kansas, obviously Jason Kidd, one of your NBA coaches. What have you pulled from each of those guys that's made you the coach you are today? Like, what part Bill Self shows up in the coach
for sure.
are?
I think for me, the thing that all of those coaches like showed me personally was just like accountability, like showing up every day. Your attitude and your effort and your energy are like kind of contagious and are the things that you can control. And so when you're dealing with the youth, when I'm like, it's less about the skills because they can only do so much skillful right now. You're still building the foundation, but like the mentality of what it takes to be where they all say they want to be, NBA, I want to be the next Steph Curry and all of these guys. It's like, but what are you doing every day to prepare yourself to do that? And I struggled with that all the way until I probably was a professional basketball player. It's just like doing all the things to get where you say you want to be. Again, accountability, showing up every day with the right attitude, working hard, not finding excuses or shortcuts. And I'm just kind of like, I still got some old school coaching in me. So there's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of screaming, a lot of running. But like, I think they also see that the things that I'm expressing to them, they work. Yeah. And it doesn't take long for me to tell a kid something and him go do it, and he can see it right away because they're still young. They're still learning so much that it's easy for me to be like, hey, if you try that, that might work. And they can go apply it right away and be like, oh, coach kind of knows what he's talking about a little bit. So now when I am screaming and yelling, it seems like they're listening, like they're taking the coaching. And I know that's hard sometimes because I play for hard coaches, and I know how hard it is to take that criticism certain ways sometimes.
Sure.
But there's a lot of that in my coaching style because for me, one, it worked. And I guess just like the passion comes out sometimes when I'm coaching them. And at their age and where they are with it, it's hard for them to understand right now, but they come back though, so.
Do they understand who's coaching them? Because obviously, you're still young enough to get out there and demonstrate. You're in your mid-30s, but they're young enough that they didn't have a chance to see you play. Yeah. But do they get it that this was an All-American? This was a NBA draft pick. This was a guy that was 2 minutes away from winning a national title at Kansas.
It's so funny because sometimes I actually do have to get out there and show them that I can still do shit. Like even when it just means making a free throw or a three-pointer, it's like I have to show them sometimes. Like I'm not one of the guys that's just telling you this. Like I've been through this. And most of their parents signed them up because their parents are well aware, right? So the kids that I'm training most of the time is because their parents are aware. Like you need to be trained by a guy who was an All-American and did all these things. And so they get the stories, and they probably, most of them done their Google and their YouTube. So they see, excuse me, they've seen my highlights and stuff like that because they'll always tell me about it. Like, Coach, I remember when you don't remember that. You remember watching it. You don't remember it. But I think it's funny. But yeah, they speaking of something that we talked about off camera is the Melvin thing that's been going on lately. The comparisons there, they've all come in and say, hey, Coach, that number 14, Melvin, he looks just like you. He reminds me. I'm like, you never even watched me play, kid. But I hear what you're saying. So I've been getting a lot of that from my little kids that recently.
That was on my list of topics today, and we do need to talk about Melvin Council because, as I told you off the air, I feel like for some of us that were around during your playing days, it's been nice to reminisce and think back to how brilliant you were on the floor and the amazing talents you brought to the equation for Kansas between 2008 and 2012, 2008, the fall semester that is. And I think for a younger generation of Jayhawks, like the modern day students at Kansas right now, they didn't necessarily live through that. They were in diapers, but now they're being educated about it for the first time because no matter who's doing your game, whether it's Jay Billis or Fran Fraschilla or Dick Vitale, whoever's doing the Kansas game, they're saying Melvin Council is the second coming of Tyshawn Taylor. Yeah. I won't go as far as saying 2.0 because that would imply he's like the new and improved version, and you're still the original version is still the best.
Yeah, for sure.
But that has to be kind of cool, though, that your name's been brought back up so many times in the last few months since Melvin's arrival.
Yeah, for one, Melvin is a great basketball player. Like I think it's more than deserving. I feel grateful that I'm like being compared to him the way he's playing, right? Like, and I'm not shorting myself there, but I think his energy, the way he's playing, the way he's been kind of leading his team, when I don't think he came here with that mentality or with that idea that was going to be his thing. I loved it. He sat here on this couch and was a guest on my podcast, and just what kind of person he is. Like, I'm happy that people are comparing us, because that's a great comparison on and off the court. I think he's a great person, has a great attitude, and is headed for great things. But in between the lines, I also can see flashes of why people think that, like his mannerisms, his length, like his body, like his body type, his energy. I can definitely see the comparisons, and I love it. I think he's a good player. I think like watching the games and hearing the guys, like you said, like Jay Billis and Fran and Dickie V, like say that also kind of confirms that they were watching too, right? They remember too. Fran did a lot of my games. Jay did a lot of my games. So for them to say that, and it's always with respect, they're comparing him to me, and they're saying like those are big shoes to fill, or that's a great comparison. So they're saying it with respect, and so I appreciate that, because it does, kind of make me feel good.
I think the initial comparison came because he gets the ball downhill and he drives it at such a high rate of speed. And we've had some fast guys since you left. Devon Dotson, Frank Mason certainly could get baseline to baseline, but there wasn't a Tyshawn Taylor-like speedster until Melvin comes along. And then you couple with it the fact that you guys look like you could be cousins. In the face, genetically, you look very similar.
He got that East Coast swag, too. That's another thing. He's from upstate New York, but he's from that side. So that's another thing that I naturally picked up, is his accent, some of his slang words. It's like very familiar to me. And so that's what I picked that up like initially, even before I seen him play. So when I heard the comparisons, it was before the basketball stuff. I hadn't seen him play yet, and then I seen him play, and I was like, I can see it. I can see flashes of it. And then I seen him play for real, and I was like, okay, I get it. I get that.
These conversations on Hanni and the Hawks, brought to you by Jefferson's, are meant to be more evergreen, so we won't talk about specific games coming up or what he just did and all that, because I want folks to be able to listen to this 5 years from now and not feel like it was recorded a long time ago. Having said that, in his first semester as a Jayhawk, when you watched him have to take on more of a load because Darren Peterson was out for 9 of the 13 non-con games, whether it was the NC State outburst with the 9 threes or a number of other performances where literally he stepped out of his comfort zone and into a larger role. How proud of him were you? And was there some big brother pride there? Because you guys have done more than just do an interview. You've shot with him, you've hung out a little bit.
He's come to my son's basketball game, which I thought was dope. The kids loved it.
Yeah.
And I hit him like last minute, like, yo, if you're not doing anything, the kids would love to see you.
Yeah.
And he pulled up in 20 minutes. And so again, that's just who he is off the court. And so, but yeah, I felt good. I felt great watching him because, for one, you root for somebody like that. After I had a real conversation with him, you just want somebody like that to do well. And then I also know the pressures of playing at Kansas. Totally. I just know the pressures of it. And he's coming from mid-majors and being really good at a different level. There's high expectations for his partner in crime, DP, to be really good, and then he's not there. So I can imagine that being like, oh, shit, like, what am I supposed to do now?
Sure.
And he performed. He's been performing. I think even the games that he's not, like, scoring a bunch, his energy is contagious on defense. He's making the right plays, like passing wise. He has a few games where he has 9 or 10 assists. Yeah. So I just love watching him play. I just think he tries hard to make the right play every time, and that's hard to do.
And he knew what he was getting into coming to play for Kansas, a blue-blooded school, when it comes to those pressures and expectations you were speaking to. Having said that, though, was there anything back in the fall you were able to pass along in terms of advice to help him through this maturation process?
I'm not sure that it was, like, great advice that he needed, but I did tell him, like, I had to, like, make it clear to him that he was the head of the snake and that they were probably going to go how he went until DP was – 100%. And this was early. This was probably after the New York game, maybe, that I had sent them a pretty, decent sized message, just letting them know, like, what you're doing is great. Yeah. Like, keep it up. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm rooting for you, and I know how hard it is to play for Coach Self. I know how hard it is to be a point guard under him. Yeah. But just play your game. And this is also when he wasn't really shooting the ball that well. Keep shooting. I was in practices during the summertime where he made 10, 11, 12 in a row, whatever, shooting with Coach Dooley. So I would just tell him to keep shooting it, stay aggressive, keep doing the things that feel natural to him, don't overthink it, and just play. And that's the same message I sent them recently when DP came back. It's just like, don't change what you've been doing.
Great advice.
DP's good. He's gonna be fine. You're gonna figure if he's in the game, you can check him in for 20. He's good. Keep doing what you've been doing because that only is gonna make you guys better. Was the advice I just recently gave to him. So
I love that about Tyshawn because he stayed so close to his alma mater, so connected in so many ways, whether it's the TBT where you've been the general manager of late, whether it's pouring into the future of basketball in this area through your tailor-made basketball academy, or just helping out in the summertime with the Round Ball Classic, something he's been a part of for, 15 years, ever since you hung him up as a Jayhawk. So I love that about this guy. Many of you tuning in, though, maybe you're 20 years old and you didn't see him play, and you've had to get on YouTube like some of our players.
Man, you better do your Google.
That's right. So when we come back, we're going to educate you on the amazing career he had, the All-American, the Final Four participant, the Kansas legend that is Tyshawn Taylor. More coming up on Hanni and the Hawks, brought to you by Jefferson's.
Hey, what's up, Chuck Nation? Roby Dunga here, and make sure you check out the new KansasNation.com. Go Chuck.
Hanni and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations, home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also, hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
I'm DJ Withers, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Welcome back to Hanni and the Hawks, presented by Jefferson's right here on KansasNation.com. Thrilled to have one of the all-time greats, Tyshawn Taylor, with us today. And I opened by talking about a famous quote that Bill Self has said on numerous occasions, that this guy might just be the toughest player he's ever coached. Toughest player could mean a lot of things. Physical toughness in fighting through injury adversities, mental toughness, playing for the highest of stakes on the biggest of stages. There's a lot of things that go into that. When you've heard him make that comment before, A, how much pride do you feel in hearing that from a first ballot Hall of Famer? And then B, where do you think that most comes from, the way he feels that about you?
Well, I've heard him say it a couple times too, and I've heard him put other guys in that list. And those other guys that are in that list, again, it's an honor to be on the list with those guys. So guys like Frank Mason or Sharon or, guys like that. So it's an honor. And then coming from him, it's even more of an honor because he's seen me have to battle a lot of things, injuries, like you said, adversity, just growing up and becoming a man. So for him to say that, it feels good. It feels like it makes me proud. It feels like I made him proud for him to bring that up. And so it feels good. And I think a lot of that comes from the things I had to go through and still, was able to still do it. What I'm saying? Again, the injuries. I think one injury specifically that he loves to bring out is when I got hurt, on a Wednesday, tore my meniscus. And I had played the game on Saturday, had surgery on a Sunday, and I was back up playing that following Saturday. Wow. And so that happened, and from that point on, in his eyes, I've been a tough guy. I've been a tough guy in his eyes from that point on, and I'm sure there's other things that go into that, off the court stuff that I've had to battle and, just life things that he's seen me go through, personal stuff. And I still was able to show up every day, for the most part, try to have a good attitude, and, just keep my head down and keep going. And so it's an honor for him to, put me in that category. But I definitely think it's well-deserved, for sure.
You talked earlier about the impression he made on you and the coach that you are today. I want to talk specifically as we go back in time to the fall of 2008 through the spring of 2012 on the impression he made on you as an individual and as a college basketball player, all of that. But to reset the scene again for some of our younger viewers that didn't have a chance to live through that, as I said, you were undefeated your senior season at high school, playing for a legendary Hall of Fame high school basketball coach at St. Anthony, a program that produced numerous big-time college basketball players. But you were committed to go to Marquette. Tom Crean decides to switch to Indiana.
Hit the deuces on me. He ain't even called the boy.
And Kansas enters the picture. How did Kansas enter the picture, and how quickly did they sell you on becoming a Jayhawk?
It wasn't quick because after the Marquette thing, I was one of the higher ranked kids that was uncommitted at the time, because most of the kids in my class, that was late that happened. Like, I was signed. I had signed my letter of intent. Pretty sure I was getting ready to graduate and go to school, and he left. So like, when I was back on the market available, a lot of schools came. A lot of schools came, and I had got it down to, I think, Florida and Kansas, and I met with Coach Billy Donovan and Coach Self, like, simultaneously. Like, I remember them shaking hands, passing each other, coming out of a meeting with me. Florida went first, and Billy Donovan was, like, listing out all of these guys that he had, and none of them I feared, but they were all in my class. He had a class from 08 and 09 or 07, the year before me. So it was like a lot of young guys that I would have had to compete with. And then I met with Coach Self, and he listed it out, and the list was the championship team, and then the team that would be us that following year, right?
Sure.
And then he was like, well, this guy's not going to be here. This guy. The whole team was crossed out. And then it was like Tyrell, Brady, Cole, Sharon, Chase, Connor Tehan. That was the team.
You're like, I can get some minutes with those guys.
That was the team. And then he showed me, like, the guys that were already committed. So the twins, Travis, and he showed me that list too. And he was like, if you can't come potentially start, I shouldn't even be here. Like, I'm recruiting the wrong guy if you don't think you can come here and potentially start. Like, I'm not telling you you're going to start, but, like, you'll have an opportunity to compete for minutes.
Sure.
And I was like, at Kansas? After they just won? I was like, damn, he left. And I probably called him, I don't know, 10 minutes later, hour later.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to come. And I'm pretty sure I had already came on my visit either before that or right after that. But the visit was just because I wanted to take the visit. I think I already knew.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it took a while because I did go through the process kind of again. I took advantage of being able to go on a couple more visits and stuff. But I think I knew simply because it was Kansas. They had just won a national championship, and I was going to have the opportunity to play a lot of minutes, which ended up happening.
Two things. First off, how cool is it that of his two options, the last three national championships were represented?
Because they were back-to-back, like around that time, too.
Florida was back-to-back, then KU.
Yeah,
so you were talking to some big-time programs at that point.
I didn't even think about that. That's a fact.
Yeah, but then secondarily, I've heard numerous guys now that Bill Self was so charismatic, so convincing, so just down to earth and connected with you so genuinely that the yes came pretty rapidly thereafter. You said maybe within an hour.
So Coach Self is blessed because it's Kansas, right? So he got to sell it not that much.
Right.
He's smooth and he could sell it. But if you a basketball guy like I came from a basketball program. I had a coach that was a basketball fanatic. I grew up loving the game and watching the game and being a student of the game. So the history alone, and I know sitting here when I talked to Melvin, he said that was part of the pitch for him is just watching the clips of all the guys who before him played here and all the Hall of Famers and all the NBA guys. And you mentioned Fog Allen and you mentioned James Naismith. It's like if you're a basketball person, that's gonna rile you up a little bit. That's gonna get you excited.
Totally.
And so you add a guy like Coach Self who can sell it too. It's most guys. It's hard to say no, especially when the goal is to play in the NBA or to make money playing basketball. To be able to perform with a Kansas uniform on, you're always gonna give yourself a chance. So.
Really well said. And to take it back to then those early seasons as an underclassman at Kansas, you came in with all this God-given ability and from a great program with Bob Hurley as your coach. But where do you think your biggest strides came with the coaching you got at KU? And at what point did you feel like, okay, I'm on my way now? Because obviously, as you mentioned, there was opportunity right away, and he wound up starting all 4 years, which not many do at Kansas. That's something that I think is a big part of your legacy. But what would you say are the most, I guess, impactful imprints they put on your game in those early years that allowed you to then go on to be an All-American as a senior?
So this is easy for me. Before I got to Kansas, I never really played a point guard position. Like I never was a natural point guard. Like have to set the team up and, manage the clock and get guys in their spots. That wasn't my job with the team I was on in high school. We were so good and we played guard heavy that I wasn't even a guard. Coach Dooley told me recently they almost didn't recruit me because they thought I was a four-man because I was the biggest guard on my team, and so I would have to guard for us sometimes. I was just naturally a guard. Get the ball, I would push it. Or I was like getting downhill, it was easy for me. So if I got a rebound, I could push the break, but I didn't have to manage the game and set guys up. And so when I got here, one of the first conversations I had with Coach Self was, we got to get Sharon the ball. We got to get him in his spots because he shoots well, and we got to get him coming off down screens and fades and all of that. And we need you to bring the ball up. Like, you have to be the point guard. And I was like, okay. Like, I felt comfortable doing it. My handles felt good. But the decision-making, and you probably know this better than anybody because you were there, you watched the games, you comment the games, you know the history. But, like, I was turnover heavy first couple of years because I was just making decisions, like, that were not point guard decisions. Like, they weren't point guard decisions. They were just natural. I was just athletic. Like, I would get past my guy, get in the air and be like, oh shit. Like, oh shit, charge or a bad pass. So there were so many of those things that were happening because I was transitioning into actually being a point guard. And that kind of carried with me even until I was a senior, where there would be some high turnover games, me forcing things or just overly penetrating or just like making the wrong reads. And as I became a pro, I even got more, like, obviously better at it. But that was the thing that I think, like, just off my game, just in between the lines, was the thing that they helped me with the most. Is like, you're a point guard. Like, this is your position. You want to go to the next level, 6'4", slender, quick, shoot it okay. You got to be a point guard. So, yeah, now when I watch film, I'm watching pick and roll stuff, or I'm just watching the games different now. I'm working on my reads, and I'm working on my handles a lot, working on, things that I would eventually end up being really good at.
Yeah.
My mid-range, my floaters, my left hand. I didn't come here with those things, but I eventually end up getting really good at those things because you have to have them to be a good point guard.
And in your defense, for the younger version of Tyshawn Taylor, first couple seasons, it's hard to play at that high rate of speed and still be under control, because while your speed was a problem for the guy trying to stop you,
people over, bro.
It could also be a problem for the guy running at that pace until you found your flow and you played under control as a senior. But that senior season, 16.6 points per game, 5 assists per game. Team goes all the way to New Orleans in the national championship. We're going to get to that in a second, but just to fast forward through the other years, maybe the best way to sum it up, you were on a Sweet 16 team led by Cole and Sharon your first year. You played on a team that had its heart broken, in the second round versus Ali for Oakmanesh. We won't go there in 2010, but Xavier and the Morris twins and T-Rob were a part of that. You made it all the way to the Elite Eights your junior year. Quickly, though, in walking through some of those names I just mentioned, you played with some all-time greats, some south end of the rafters type guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Give me some of your fondest memories with some of those guys that were your key teammates during that stretch.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. That sophomore year you're talking about and that junior year were two of my favorite seasons. I think after my freshman year, I had a pretty good season. A lot of people didn't expect that. I got a chance to go play for the Olympics and win a gold medal, 18 and under. So that was really dope. And after I came back from there, I thought I was a pro. Like, that's when I really, in my mind, I knew that I was a professional basketball player. And then we had a team that was so good that I was like, I don't need to be a professional basketball player. I just need to be good. I just got to get these guys involved, and we were good. There probably was 7 or 8 pros on that team. And I always like to argue we don't get talked about enough because how it ended. But that team was 33-2 until that game that we lost to Northern Iowa.
No.
Our margin of victory probably was 12 to 15. We were smoking everybody, 12 to 15 points. We ran through the Big 12. That team was really, really good and had 10 guys that played in the NBA. 8 guys that played and 9 guys that played in the NBA. 7 lottery picks, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Xavier, T-Rob, both twins, Cole, Jeff Withy's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Myself is in there somewhere. Did I say Xavier?
You did. Yeah.
Okay. So it was 7 or 8 of us that played in the NBA anyway. One of my favorite teams. We were so good. Sharon, we were so good, but we just couldn't figure it out when it mattered. We had a lot of games where we did struggle, and you just kind of seen, like, if this was a better team, this would, or if we weren't as good offensively, this would be, and ended up catching up with us. But that team was so good, and I would like to argue it against any team. We don't get talked about enough because we didn't go as far in the tournament and shit. But that was a great team. My junior year, another of my favorite team because I got to see two of the guys that I came in with just kind of take off. Talking about the Twins, like they carried us that year. Marcus was so good and so fun to play with, so easy. Like they made the game so easy for all of us. Like we had some real battles in practices that year too, because the team that was coming up after us with T-Rob and Elijah, a couple of other guys that were on that team were really good too. So like, I remember those practices would be like, even that the year before that, the first and second team, there was no drop off. Those 2 years. There was literally no drop-off those 2 years. So practices, our red team was a starting five on any other college. And so those practices were like, NBA people came to see those practices, bro. They were full. They were full, and it was so fun to compete and play at that higher level and be involved and be around guys like that. I felt like Coach Self was in his prime around that time, so his energy was high. It was just like, those are two of my freshman year was my favorite. My last year was my favorite. My freshman year was probably the one that means the most because it just kind of like set the tone for me. And those 2 years just like were probably my best years in college. Man. Like my funnest years.
And the roster depth and the dynamic nature 1 through 10 of that roster is something you'll probably never see again.
It was so good.
Because of the transfer portal and the NIL era that has now spread the talent around.
T-Rob playing behind the Twins, Jeff playing behind him.
Yeah.
Me, Elijah, Josh Selby at one point. Yeah. Brady and Tyrell with Connor playing behind them. Then you would get Elijah a year after that. It was ridiculous the amount of talent. Yeah. Trav, Mario, Little, and Xavier. Travis and Mario redshirted one year, and I thought it was the most ridiculous thing because they were so good. But we had Xavier. He was a fucking lottery pick. And I was like, this is crazy. But the practices, though, like those practices, sheesh, they got crazy.
They did.
Made the games easy.
As deep as those teams were, and obviously your junior season, you went to the Elite Eight in San Antonio. The farthest you would advance would come as a senior on a team that wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
And
7 guys.
Right?
7 guys.
So educate the younger viewer and listener now on that team because you still had dynamic talent.
Yeah.
With T-Rob, obviously, an All-American. You were a third-team All-American that year, first-team All-Big 12. Yeah. Jeff Withey set an NCAA record for blocks in the tournament.
He was a beast.
Elijah, Travis Rutherford, lockdown defender.
Yeah.
You know, you had a lot of talent. Obviously, Kevin Young, Connor Tehan hitting 4 threes versus Mizzou.
Yeah.
But while you didn't have quantity, you certainly had quality.
We had exactly what we needed, and I think that's probably the biggest difference between that team and the team that was so good our sophomore year. It was like you just got so much. You just got too much sometimes, right? Like as a coach, when you got that much, you sometimes it's hard to get to that 7 or 8 guys that you normally play with towards the end of the season.
Right.
When the roster is just that good, it's hard. I don't know. I'm not speaking for Coach Sell, but just being there, it felt like he didn't care to pull a guy out because he knew he had another guy. Right. And maybe that was just my experience that year because I was also up and down with my play. But like my senior year, you couldn't do that. I got to play my 5. And I'm going to shuffle around the 2 who's playing good. And we know what T-Rod was going to give us. After a couple of games, we knew what I was going to give us. We knew what Travis and Elijah was going to give us. After a few games, we knew Jeff was a great defender and was going to make shots and be a lob threat. And then like you said, you get your Kevin Youngs. You give you some great minutes against Missouri that last game. You have games like that. You get a Justin Wesley come in and give you a spark plug and maybe catch a lob or a putback dunk. Then you get one of those young guys like Nadir to come in and spare some minutes for myself or Elijah when we needed it. And the dark horse, or I guess like the kind of secret to that season was Ben and Jamari not being able to play. So Ben McLemore was on that team, Jamari Traylor was on that team, but they couldn't play. So again, it goes back to that red team, blue team kind of vibe. Like our red team was better every day because now we're playing against 2 pros. Yeah. Playing against a lottery pick, and Jamari is a professional basketball player. So like you add them to, I'm guarding Ben every day at practice. He's guarding me every day in practice. So now when I have to go play against Baylor, I know exactly how it feels to have a 6'6" athletic wing guarding you for 2 hours.
Yep.
That's my day. That's my life. I do that every day.
Every day.
You know what I'm saying? And so he helped us even though he couldn't play. And I honestly think if he was there, we win a national championship if we had Ben and Jamari that year. So they helped us a bunch.
I've also heard from guys like Elijah that if that game versus Kentucky was 2 minutes longer, you win a national championship.
I give you one even better. Yes, if Elijah shoots the three that he didn't shoot in the corner and got to travel for it, I think we win that game. I don't know if I'm gonna take you back.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the game where we were down 6 points, and Elijah got a three in the corner, an open three, and Anthony Davis went to contest it. I guess Elijah thought that he was gonna get blocked, so he just came down with the ball and got a travel. Ref calls a travel, he shoots the ball, goes in. It doesn't matter. That was his way of giving the ref the ball back. But it went in, and I noticed that. And I noticed that shit. And then they come down and they hit a three. It was like a minute and 40 seconds left at that point, minute 30, 25 seconds left. So we go, instead of going down three, we go down 9.
Exactly.
Game's over. So I even give you, that's the one for me, because obviously if you have 2 minutes more, but if he shoots that, I don't think it gets blocked. But even if it does, it goes out of bounds. We get the ball back. And so he was like, oh shit, he just came down with it. And I was like, oh my God.
And his whole 2 minutes thing had to do with the fact that you've been on such a great comeback, and all the momentum was coming to Kansas.
I've said that before
had
too.
We had the ropes a little bit. Real quickly, we don't have a ton of time, but like when you think back to that title game run, and not specifically just the game versus Kentucky, but the whole 6-game tournament, what are some of your fondest memories in what was in the Self era one of our favorite runs of all time?
The comeback against Purdue, because I did not feel like we could win that game. I felt like they were going to get a big shot at any moment, and we couldn't we couldn't create any distance. It was like a 1 or 2 point game the whole time, either us up or us down. And late in the game, I remember getting the ball on a pass from like a rebound from T-Rod. He passed it over, and I looked up at the clock, and it was like 5 seconds, and we up 1, and I was like, dribble out or dunk? Dunk. And it was like 3 seconds. The coach was like, still talks about that now. I should have dribbled it out, but I was like, I don't know. I got to secure this. I could have fumbled it off my leg or something and never got the shot up, so I'm just shooting it. That was a good game. NC State, I remember that really well. We came back from 8 or 9 points lead, and I remember running a play, out of bounds play, where somebody's supposed to get a screen and come around and get a lob. Lob wasn't there. They go to the corner, and then that person goes set a screen for Elijah to come straight down the middle. That person didn't set the screen for Elijah, and Elijah went all the way back to half court and like juked this man out and came straight V-line and straight toward me, and I threw him the basketball. Layup, we go up 1. I'm pretty sure that was the game. They end up getting like a half court shot. So I remember like the play just breaking down, and the referee like 3, 4, and I'm like, and then I just see Elijah just running straight towards me, and I threw it to him. He gets the layup. We go up 1, and I think that was the game. They get a half court shot, it's over with. And then obviously North Carolina was the best game that I played. Hadn't been shooting the ball well. Wasn't playing my best late. Like, wasn't really playing. I'm not gonna say I wasn't playing good, but I wasn't shooting the ball well at all, really. And then something happened against North Carolina, man. I just kind of got out of that funk, played really well, ended up scoring well, assisting well, and we played really good. I remember Jeff having a couple of really big blocks in that game that changed the momentum for us. I remember North Carolina mostly. It was my probably favorite game to play in. I've always been a North Carolina guy growing up and stuff like that. So when I got to Kansas, that was always a game I wanted to play. We got a chance to do it, to go to a Final Four. Loved Coach Williams. Was like respected their game, respected that team. We were fortunate that one of their best players went down. But I don't think they would have beat us either way. I just feel like that was just a run that we was on. But that was my favorite game. We played well. Ohio State was after that.
Taylor versus Kraft.
The second game. So that the first time we played them, I was recovering from that meniscus that I was talking about that I didn't miss a game for. So I didn't really play well that game. Really wanted to play good this game, but he's tough. I don't think I shot the ball really well, but I made some good plays down the stretch. I think I had like 10 assists that game. So I made the right plays. T-Rob played big that game, and Elijah from Purdue, NC State. I played really good offensively. North Carolina, so did T-Rob. But Elijah carried it offensively. He made big shot after big shot in all of those games. I think he was an unsung hero in a bunch of those. Obviously, Jeff played well defensively, but Elijah just hit so many big shots when we needed it and made so many big plays. And then Kentucky, man, we played them earlier that year. They just are a good team.
Yeah.
They had the first 2 picks of that draft, and then I think 3 other guys were first rounders, and then they had like 2 or 3 guys that were older, junior, seniors that went in the second round. So they had seven pros on that team too. 3 or 4 of them didn't even get in the game. Yeah. So they were good. They were young. They were talented. They were well coached, obviously. But I love that team because I think I always say least talented team that I played on, but we knew exactly who we are. We showed up every day. We competed. We had the best player in college basketball outside of Anthony Davis, who was a national player. T-Rob was better than everybody that year.
No doubt.
And so it was just really fun to be. It was fun for me as a senior to finish my career like that. Mm-hmm. I think that was the best thing for me. Like I was very content with what I had done in the Kansas uniform when it was over.
You pushed Kentucky to the brink, darn near won it all, but still, Bill Self's second Final Four team at Kansas. So many great memories from that 2012 group of Jayhawks. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with our Jayhawk Fast Break. This is Hanni and the Hawks presented by Jefferson's right here on Kansas Nation. Hanni and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations, home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
I'm DJ Withers, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Back to wrap it up on Hanni and the Hawks with Tyshawn Taylor, one of Bill Self's favorite players ever. We covered a lot of ground today on your Kansas career, your impressions of Coach Self then versus now, and some of your favorite memories of your favorite teammates. But we always like to close with something called the Jayhawk Fast Break. 4 quick hitters. Could be about all kinds of random stuff, one of which happens to be your jersey number, because not many Kansas legends had 2 numbers at KU. You switched from 15 to 10 before your sophomore year. Begs the question, how come you didn't have 10 to start? And what's the history behind each number over the course of your career?
Nice. That's a great question. So 10's always been my favorite number. I've tried to get it at any stop that I've been at. I didn't finish high school with it because one of my best friends, who was also a sophomore at the high school I transferred to, had number 10, and he was not giving it up. So I spent 3 years with 15. And when I committed to Kansas, Coach Brennan Bouchard, who was my teammate at the time, had number 10. He was a senior. I was a freshman. He had 1 more year. I knew I would be there more than 1 year. So I said, hey, all right, it's yours for 1 year. And so I took 15. The danger in 15 that year was Mario Chalmers just hit a crazy big shot.
He did. Biggest shot in school history.
One of the biggest shots we've all ever seen. And I come in, probably similar to what Melvin's dealing with, not on the same level because I'm not Mario, but there was a lot of like, are you the next him?
Sure.
And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. But it was a lot of that. Like, he's going to be Mario. He's Mario. And so I wanted to get out of 15 as fast as possible. But my freshman year was a really good year. I played well in that number, and it does have some history.
Yep.
But 10's my number, and I was able to finish my career with it.
Yeah, Bud Stallworth, JoJo White, Mario Chalmers, some great 15s, but you're one of the all-time great 10s along with Kirk Heinrich. I was always curious about that. Okay, next up, we've been able to prove that Melvin Council Jr. is not, in fact, your son, even though everybody thinks he looks like you, he plays like you, all that. You do have a son, though, that's a star basketball player at Bishop Seabury Academy. Tell me about Q and what's the future of Q look like in your estimation, both as dad and as his coach?
I'd say as dad and coach, the sky's the limit. I think he has the opportunity to be a really good basketball player. Obviously, he's young, still a lot of things to work on. But he likes it. I think he like almost loves it. He says he does, but I think that he's still kind of in the like area. But he's good. He's good. I'm fortunate that I get to, train him and be an assistant coach on his high school team, so I kind of get to watch over him a little bit without being the main voice that he's hearing. But part of the reason that he lives with me is because he wanted to take the game serious and he wanted to be around me, full time. And so I thought that was really dope. And obviously I was like, heck yeah, come on, let's do it. So it's just fun to kind of watch him go through this process and be someone he can lean on and kind of, mirror in a sense, even though I want a lot more for him. But for the most part, I think I kind of set a good example as far as basketball is concerned. So he's doing his best to try to outdo that. And so that's a good start.
Q is short for Quentin. I would love to call this game someday.
Yeah,
we'll
heck
see.
yeah.
All right. Next up, you played professionally after your NBA career in numerous countries overseas, 7 or 8 countries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, what's your favorite place basketball ever took you to? Besides Kansas.
Yeah.
In terms of foreign places, all the different countries.
I got to play basketball in Italy, so I spent a bunch of time in like Milan and Florence and
a lot of models in Milan.
Yeah, a lot of models in Milan. A lot of good food, a lot of good shopping. That was like it really reminded me of like Manhattan. So it was like very familiar to me. It felt very fast paced and busy, and you could just kind of go out your apartment and there's a store right there for food or something there, like a little corner store or something. So it felt very much like home. And then I spent some time in Tel Aviv, Israel, which kind of reminds me of Miami a little bit. So it was beaches and the weather was nice the whole time. So I enjoyed being there. But honestly, a kid from Hoboken, New Jersey, to be able to see all of that was amazing.
Yeah.
Russia, Greece, Turkey, South America. I've been to Venezuela and Argentina, places like that. So just to be able to get to all of those places was like, wow, I never thought about this. So it was dope.
That's incredible. We close with this. One of the most famous moments of your NBA career was the crazy exchange with Jason Kidd. I've asked you about that on previous interviews where he asked you to bump into him and spill the water because he was out of timeouts. Instead, got a technical.
High IQ basketball play right there, Coach.
That is next level. We won't relive all that in the short amount of time we have, but it begs the question, if that was your most candid, unscripted, wild moment with Coach Kidd, what's your favorite, folks might not know it, fun moment with Bill Self? Whether it was on the floor, in a practice, on the road, anything come to mind, your favorite Bill Self story? I remember
we were watching film. We were on the road watching film my senior year, maybe during a tournament or a Big 12 tournament. We were in a hotel though, and we were watching film and everybody was eating dinner and they left. And I was kind of still there, just kind of hanging out on my phone or whatever. And this is before I wore eye contacts. This is when I knew I needed eye contacts. So I was like a table away from Coach Self, and I was like on my phone, and my phone was like this, and I'm like texting or scrolling or doing whatever I'm doing. And he yells from across the room, "Hey, bud, you think you need some glasses?" And I go, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I went to the eye doctor like probably the next day or whenever we got back, and I, in fact, needed glasses. Like, I was blind. And then I also thought about, damn, I've been playing basketball this blind my whole life. Like, what if I could have actually seen somebody?
And Bill Self was the optometrist that diagnosed
Honestly,
it.
he literally, like, brought it to my attention because I always was, like, squinting, but I never, like, paid even attention to like how close my phone was to my face or anything until he yelled across the room and was like, "Hey, you think you need glasses?" And I was like, maybe. And I do. I got such bad eye contact, and I found out shortly after that.
A baseball player who gets contact lenses for the first time, his batting average goes up by like 50 points.
No, Brian.
Did you start making more shots?
No, Brian. No. This is no joke. I don't know when it got really bad, but the moment I left college and actually got contacts, I looked in the mirror and thought, I was like, damn, you look different. I didn't even reckon, like, it was that bad. And the contacts that I got, like, HD'd my entire life. And I was like, bro, I literally I became a way better basketball player.
Did you?
Way better. Honestly, I was just like, this is crazy. I was able to do all of that. Because I was squinting the whole time, especially when like sweat get in my eye and the lights.
Yeah.
I was doing this the whole time. My entire career until I became a professional, which is insane.
Gets
to
the
think
contacts, looks in the mirror. Man, I knew I was handsome.
Yeah, like, damn, yeah, spots right here. That's look nice. Like, I was messed up.
Dude, you've always been one of my favorite personalities. I love how much you love your alma mater, how much you've poured back into this
Rock
place.
chalk, baby.
Thank you so much for coming on today. So many great stories. And if you love this, check out his podcast right here on Kansas Nation, Time Out with Tyshawn Taylor. How many episodes can they find if they log on?
I think we had about 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah, we about
Good
4
deal.
or 5.
All
My man Elijah got the stats in the back.
Good stuff. That's Elijah of Kansas Nation, not Elijah
Little shout
Johnson.
out for my boy Elijah.
We'll have to feature the other Elijah one of these days on Hanni and the Hawks. Hey, big thanks to Jefferson's for sponsoring each and every episode. We're going to chow down on these great Jefferson's wings, but thanks to you most of all, my friend.
I appreciate you,
All
Brian.
the best
Thank
to you. And Quentin, can't wait to follow his career.
Yeah.
Tell him I want to do his game someday.
I got you. It's
All
going
right,
to be
man.
big time.
I love it. This has been Hanni and the Hawks right here on Kansas Nation.